Last night we posted a video about Cameroon and the things they're dealing with in their country right now. And I've been getting a lot of emails about issues that's happening in Cameroon right now. And I actually have to sift through those emails and see what we could report. But some development that I did not know about. Paul Biya, as you know, he has been the leader of Cameroon for a very, very long time. Paul Biya in France, they are together and keeping the oppression on the Cameroonian people. When it comes to the Cameroonian people, many of you outnumber those who are oppressing you. You could stand up and take your country back, in which you should. More and more of you should understand that, hey, either give me liberty or give me death. That's exactly what they stated here in this country. Paul Biya, in the midst of him doing what he's doing, he has his daughter named Brenda Biya here in the United States. I mean, living it up too, living it up very, very well. Now, am I blaming Brenda Biya for what her father's doing? No, I'm not blaming her at all. She is a child. She's a kid. Okay. Paul Biya sent his daughter over here to the United States, and she was living in Beverly Hills at the time. So she was staying in Beverly Hills, and she ended up getting a mansion to stay in. So while she's in America living in a mansion, the people don't have any food. The people are going through it over there in Cameroon, okay? So this particular mansion, it costs $26,000 a month to rent. It's a lot of money, isn't it? 26,000 US dollars will go a very, very long way in Cameroon. It can feed a lot of people. It can help give the salary to people to work jobs. But no, he sent his daughter over here to live it up. There's a lot of black Americans that's not even living like that, okay? But yet she's over here, she's living that way. She was taking taxi rides, okay? The taxi rides were not your regular Ubers or whatever. She was spending $400 per day on Mercedes-Benz G-Wagons to take her wherever she has to go. Now, on the home, when Paul Biya tried to show up and try to get to rent this home, them folks, you know who they are, they stated, you have to pay me rent up front a whole year. Now, you know good well in America, we don't pay no rent up front for a year, but he paid it up. He ended up paying $312,000 US dollars for rent for the year, and then the $26,000 a month for his daughter. Now, this particular mansion that she's staying in is 7,119 square feet. She is the only one that lived there with her 3 dogs, and occasionally she invites her friends. As we reported yesterday, soldiers are just killing innocent people. The police are killing innocent people at the behest of Paul Biya. And this man is not even around to do anything about it or say anything. His ministers are running the country while he go carry himself off to Switzerland somewhere in some lavish hotel that he rents. He don't even be in the country. So the country can go to chaos. Macron in France could do whatever he wants. The French army could do whatever they want in there. And you know the French is notorious for brutality, the French army, raping, etc. We all know this based on their history in the different countries. Now, the people of Cameroon and their funds, okay, they should not see this happening in their country when you got this girl over here living way better than any black American on average would live. How could you sit up there and steal from your people? I don't understand that. I wouldn't even feel right that I am the leader of a nation and I'm living high on the hog. I'm doing very, very well for myself. My wife looking like $1 million, my daughters, everything looking like $1 million. And then I look throughout my country and my people are suffering. I wouldn't even feel right to do that. But see, the difference is between me and Paul Biya is I have a heart and I feel that God would judge me if I do something like that. And I don't want to be in the hands of an angry God. So let me not do something like that to people, because I know life is a full circle. What you do to people, you're going to get back. That's something that could be good or something that can be bad. So I definitely want to do more good so goodness can come back to me, not a bunch of bad things, okay? The people in Cameroon didn't vote on this to happen. They didn't approve none of that, because all this money this guy is spending will go a long way in that nation. Now, Paul Biya must go. He must go. Any collaborator with any colonizer or any turncoat or sellout, they must be identified and they must be cast out. Just as much as we say the same thing here in America within the black community.
Good morning, Africa. Welcome to Daybreak Africa from the Voice of America. I'm James Barty in Washington to this Monday, March 4th. And here are some of the stories we are covering. A spokesman for the self-proclaimed Republic of Amazonia is calling on the Cameroon government to immediately and unconditionally release leaders of the self-proclaimed Republic of Amazonia. The separatist leaders, including their president, Julius Sisiku Ayuk Tabi, are facing terrorist charges before a Cameroon military tribunal after they were abducted by Nigeria and deported to Cameroon. The call for their release comes after a Nigerian federal judge said their abduction and deportation were illegal and unconstitutional. Chris Anu is Secretary of State for Communication of the Amazonian Separatist Movement. He says the leaders are patriots and nationalists and should be released unconditionally.
They were abducted to Cameroon illegally, as the court in Nigeria said. They were under legal and constitutional protection in Nigeria. When illegally transferred to Cameroon, they were charged with terrorism. The court in Nigeria has said they were legally in Nigeria. They did not commit any crime, and to prove that, the court has asked the Nigerian government to compensate them. So that now pits the Nigerian government against the Cameroon government that is charging them with terrorism. Our leaders have said they are not French Cameroonians. They are Amazonians. So we are wondering what case that the French Cameroon government has against them right now.
Of course, the government of Cameroon will say that the leaders that were arrested and your group are involved in an attempt to overthrow the government, the legitimate government, they say, or you are involved in terrorist activities against the government.
Well, that is far from being the truth because, number one, they cannot prove that. Number two, why would our leader, our president, who is a president of another country, be trying to overthrow the president of French Cameroon or the government of French Cameroon? We have no interest with who leads French Cameroon and what goes on with the government of French Cameroon.
At the time of their deportation, the United Nations High Commission for Refugees criticized that. What is it now that you want? The return of your leaders to Nigeria or compensation? Which one comes first?
I think both are very critical because they have suffered unmerited imprisonment for a year incommunicado. I think anyone who thinks that compensation is not important doesn't know what he or she is thinking. Both are very important. They need to regain their freedom. Of course, you cannot give them money in prison while they are in jail. They have first to regain their freedom and then receive that compensation. And we are hoping that the Cameroon government, with the ruling in Nigeria, will immediately and unconditionally release them so they can then go after what the court in Nigeria has given them as compensation.
The Nigerian court ruling comes at a very crucial time now because I think the next hearing of your leaders before the military tribunal is this Thursday, March 7th. What would you like to see happen?
Well, we have said again and again, and adding to the ruling in Nigeria, that French Cameroon has no jurisdiction at all to try them even for a second in any court in French Cameroon. We want their unconditional release. They are patriots, they are nationalists, they should be released unconditionally to the people of the southern Cameroon.
Chris, thank you very much again. Always nice to speak with you.
My pleasure, sir. Thank you.
Chris Anu is Secretary of State for Communication of the Amazonian Separatist Movement of Cameroon. He was speaking with me from the U.S. city of Houston in Texas. Today is Monday, March 4th, and you're listening to Daybreak Africa on the Voice of America. I'm Jim.
Hail this land of glory, we the Amazonian, special loyalty. Praise to our Savior who granted us the freedom, and led us to the hero bright and holy. Glory, glory, glory to the Father for making you a nation, a joy forevermore. Ambassador.